Hello everyone, good evening, welcome back to my channel. I'm Mateus, I'm a student, I'm not a teacher. I started studying English in Jornada do Inglês in September 2020. My teacher is Felipe André. This course is amazing. In this video, I'm read a book, chapter 1, Marley and Me, the new puppy. My name is John Grogan and I love dogs. When I was 10 years old, my father gave me my first dog. I called him Shaw. Shaw was my best friend. He went everywhere with me and he was very obedient. When I called him, he came to me. He played with me and he walked next to me without a last. In the car, he sat next to me quickly. After many years, Shaw died. He was 14 years old. By the time I wasn't a boy, I was a man. I had my first job. Chow was a great dog. I wanted to getting another dog, but it had to be as wonderful as Chow. Some years later, I moved to Florida and married Jen. Jen and I had jobs with newspaper. We were very happy. We were young and in love, and life was wonderful. One day, I bought a plant for Jen. It was very large with beautiful white flowers. Jen loved it, maybe too much. Every day she gave it water. In the end, the plant got sick and died. Some days later, I woke up early. Jen wasn't in bed. I found her at the table with a newspaper. She had a red pen in her hand. Jen, I said, "What are you doing?" She showed me the newspaper. It was open at the page of 8. "Look at this," John said. "John," she said, "I saw an ad with a big red line under it. Beautiful Labrador pups, 5 weeks old." "I can't forget about the plant," Jen said. "Why couldn't I look after a plant? One had to give it water, but I kill it." She looked sad, but then she smiled. "I can't look after a plant, but maybe I can't look after a dog. And later, maybe I will be ready for a baby." I thought about that. Jen and I waited to have children one day, but we loved the dog. We loved dogs too. Our little house was a good place for a dog. We lived near a park and near a beach. And the house had a big yard with a lot of trees. "Okay," I said. I put my arms around Jen. "Let's get a dog." So some days later, we drove to the address in the 8. The house was in the middle of some woods. A woman came to the door and there was a beautiful yellow Labrador with her. "I'm Lori," said the woman, "and this is Lily. She's the pup's mother." "Where is the father?" I asked. "Oh," said Lori, "some boy. He's around here somewhere. Then she said quickly, "Do you want to see the pups?" Lottie took ours into a room behind the kitchen. There were a lot of newspaper on the floor and a large box by the wall. In the box were 9 yellow pups. "Oh," cried Jane. "Aren't they beautiful?" We sat on the floor with the pups. One little puppy really liked ours. He climbed up our shirts and looked into our eyes. "The pups are 350 each," said Lottie. "But that pup for $350. I stood up and turned away from the pups. Then I turned back quickly and shouted loudly. The other pups ran away, but the little pups ran to me and climbed over my shoes. "That's our pups," Jen loudly. I held him in front of my face. I looked at him and he looked at me. He had very light brown eyes. I gave him to Jen and she held him too. "I think he likes ours," I said. "We paid Lottie for him. Come back for him in 3 weeks," she said. "He'll be 8 weeks old, so you can take him then." We thanked Lottie and said goodbye. On our way to the car, I put my arm around Jane. "Isn't it wonderful?" I said. "We got our dog." "Yes," she said. "I can't wait to bring him home." Suddenly, we heard a loud noise in the woods. Something ran out of the trees, something large and yellow. It was a big Labrador, but this dog was very different from Lily. This dog was wild and dirty. It had a crazy look in its eyes. It ran quickly past ours and around the back of the house. "I think," I said slowly, "that's the daddy." Jen and I tried to think of a name for our puppy, but each of ours liked different names. One morning, we heard a song by Bob Marley, the Jamaican singer. One on the radio. Bob Marley was dead, but people played his music everywhere in Florida. Jen and I liked his music too. Sadly, at the same time, we shot Marley. "That's it," I cried. "That's his name, Marley." Jen smiled. Some days later, Jen's sister called her from Boston. "We're visiting Disney World next week with the children." She said, "Would you like to come with us?" Jen wanted to go to Disney World very much, "But I won't be here when Marley comes home," she said. "That's okay," I said. "I'll go and get Marley." A week later, Jen left for Orlando. That evening, after work, I drove to Lottie's house. Marley was a very large pup now. "He eats a lot," said Lottie. "Are you ready for your new house, Marley?" I said. I used his name for the first time and it felt right. Marley sat next to me in the car. He tried to climb on me, but each time he fell back on the floor. In the end, he climbed up and sat on me. He wetted his tail happily. When we got home, I took off his last. Marley's back sniffy. He went around the house and sniffed everything. Then he sat back and looked at me with his large brown eyes. I couldn't read Marley's throat. This place is great, but where are my brothers and sisters? I took Marley to the garage next to the house. It was a warm, dry room. Marley, I said, this is your room now. I put some newspaper down on the floor. I put some things down to then I put some water in a bowl and made a bed from a large box. You're going to sleep here, I said. I put Marley into the box. He looked sadly at me. I went back into the house and closed the door. I stood and listening. I couldn't hear nothing. Then I hear a cry, and then another cry. The cries got louder and louder. When I opened the door again, Marley stopped crying. I petted him for some time, then I left again and closed the door. Marley starts to cry again. I was very tired, so I went to my bedroom. My bedroom wasn't near the garage, but I couldn't hear Marley's cry. I felt sorry for him. His family wasn't there. Got into bed. I listened to Marley's cries for a half an hour. Then I got up and went back to the garage. Marley stopped crying and waited his tail. I carried his box in bedroom and put it on the floor next to me. Then I got into bed and put my hand down into the box. Some minutes later, Marley was slept. I slept too. If you like this video, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.